I think that the idea of doing it all yourself and being able to be your own conductor and your own sound engineer, all that is unique to the piano. Plus, I just like the sound of it. I actually was an Oberlin student. I was a double degree student in the 60s and early 70s during the Vietnam War. And I lived through all that incredible period of tumult and change. I still remember coming to Oberlin for the very first time in the middle of a foggy rainstorm on a January evening to do an audition and discovering that the airlines had lost my luggage. Now I can see that Oberlin is really a very, very special, unique kind of place from which people who are qualified to receive it can get a fabulous education. I think teaching is a question of fostering multiple intelligences in students. I'm hoping as I get older that I will get more flexible in the way I'm able to put things together. And I'll be able to do more with less. My ideal in this regard was Ivan Galamian, who is the great violin teacher of past era. And I used to accompany for his studio. And the kids would come in there scared to death, and he would say maybe 4 sentences in an hour. And somehow they were exactly the right 4 sentences. And I remember my Oberlin teacher, to whom I owe everything, was like that. I would play something and being very insecure, and he would say, "Wow, that was fantastic. You played that little trill over there better than Rubinstein, but over here, this cadence, there are 3 things that happen. That voice has to go this way, and that has to go that way, and why don't you do that? You play so well." I think what more you could do is to think more about the big overall shape of the piece, the dialogue that goes on, how one voice answers another, and how the climax builds up in the middle. And at the end of the lesson, I would go out and say, but wait a minute, if I do it in that cadence, then I have to do it in that cadence. That would mean that would happen. And he was a genius at pushing my buttons. So I think that's the highest art of teaching, is to combine all the elements, the psychological, the mechanical, the stylistic, all in a few effortless sentences in just the right sequence at just the right time to make it happen. Well, one of the many ways that Oberlin is unique is that we have interesting programs for our current students and also prospective students. We're one of the few schools that has a really big international competition for high school age students, which I've been directing for the 15 years that it's in existence. I've had a lot of great experiences with that, not only meeting incredible talents and their teachers, but also getting to know international competition judges who come to help us out and making connections for Oberlin that way. And now, thanks to this incredible generosity of Mr. Cooper and the work of our dean, we have metamorphosized this competition into a huge international one. If you play like that, it doesn't really convey the... And once you're up here, stay there, Sean. Like you're still so afraid of how you're letting it down. And after that, then you can be impressionistic. The top 3 people in our competition will get to play with the Cleveland Orchestra. This is, I think, really unique in all the many youth competitions out there. To be able to play in the finals with the Cleveland Orchestra on anybody's list of at least the top 4 or 5 orchestras in the world is an incredibly valuable experience. In fact, I'd love to change the rules so our competition is open to students who are from the ages of 13 to 18 plus people born on my birthday, because I would love to play with the Cleveland Orchestra. Oberlin is such an idealistic community. To be unrealistic And an idealistic pianist is the best possible combination for somebody who's starting out at that age, that sense of being nurtured and that everything is possible in this protected environment before you have to go out and really slay all the dragons out there. For better or worse, you really do get to know your teachers. And your teachers take on the role not just of somebody that teaches you music 1 hour a week, but somebody that really tries to point you in certain directions in life and keep you interested in the right way to go. That, I think, is very unusual.